We're here with David Garrett here, personal life coach. David, great to meet you.
Great to meet you, Hugh.
And Stu, of course, is still here, and
Hi, Stu.
we're
David, nice to
talking.
meet you.
We're just kind of figuring out all the different people that we know together. Such a small world.
Yes, it is. In fact, we know a lot of people. We know Ash Silver. We know everyone, actually, probably who've come here. And that's how I came here myself, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, small world.
It
It's
is.
really a
It's
small
really
world,
small.
actually.
It's a tiny little planet
Tiny
we
world.
live on.
Yeah.
You can travel anywhere and know somebody, or somebody knows you who knows somebody else. It is. It's nice in that way, especially in this business. Because now we're going to get Ash Silva on the show. No
I
pressure.
hope so. No pressure.
David.
No pressure. Yeah.
Okay, David. So let's talk about what you do as a personal life coach. First of all, maybe just get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
You probably didn't start out life as a life coach, right?
Yes.
You know, there's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of a story there somewhere.
There's a long story to it. In fact, even though I have a psychology background, and my profession was completely different from what I do now. And I did coach. I did coach on a voluntary basis for 2.5 years, but that was only on voluntary. Friends referred friends, and their friends came over. My actual background, and it'll be surprising to hear, is actually engineering. So from engineering to coach, and I love it.
You're building.
I'm
You know,
building,
it's
yes,
building,
I'm building,
yeah.
yeah.
You're engineering lives.
Engineering lives. Yeah. There's a reason to it as well, because life coaching and coaching fulfills me. Of course, we all have jobs. We go out there, we do a 9 to 5 job, we do a 10 to 9 job, whatever it takes, and we come back home. But does it fulfill us? Does it make us really happy that we look forward to going to that job the next day? We wake up in the morning and say, okay, I am going to go to that office and build things. So,
Yeah. I
and
mean, I think we're in a transitionary period in terms of jobs and in terms of the economy, because I think more and more people are transitioning out of those kind of jobs that you're
Yes.
talking about, where you just get up, go, do your job, and transitioning more to the kind of work where it is more about the meaning in their work, and whether that's being self-employed, or whether it's having your own business, as opposed to having that job where you're working for somebody else.
True, true. In fact, we all go out there. We do, like I mentioned, all kinds of jobs. And also in this profession, I was hoping to be self-employed.
Yeah.
It's been my wish to be self-employed, to be self-sufficient. But when you have that regular paycheck coming in, bi-weekly paycheck coming in, and it's a good paycheck coming in, it's really hard to say, no, I'm going to lose this paycheck for another 6 months or probably a year, and I'm going to start off on my own. It's really hard to do that.
And if you have a family
If
or
you
anything
have a
else,
family
I mean,
or-
let's face it, many people get up to go to their jobs because they need to support themselves and a family. It's not
Exactly.
because they're loving to go there.
True.
So it takes a lot to say, hey, I want to change my life in what I do on a daily basis to make it more rewarding for myself. But that's a scary proposition.
Yes, it is. It is. And 2 years ago, in fact, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I should say, I was laid off because of the recession. So there you go. And perfect opportunity.
You were forced.
I was forced. There is no paycheck coming in, so I don't mind not getting a paycheck for another year. Because there is no
Well,
paycheck coming in.
yeah. That's,
You might mind a little bit.
I wouldn't.
there's nothing you can do about it.
you know.
You're,
Yeah. 6 large men to see you,
Yes.
sir. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So, but again, you were forced into it.
Yeah.
But had you been thinking about it anyways before this forced retirement from one part of your life?
Yes, I was deeply thinking about
Right.
it. I was deeply in the last year, specifically. I was almost done. I was almost ready to quit. In fact, and things do happen for a reason in our lives, and I've always believed that. Actually, good things happen. I always see that something happens, and it's always for the good. We all take that. Probably at that point in time, it might say that, okay, I lost a paycheck, I lost my job, nothing good has happened to me
No,
today.
that's bad.
That's bad, you know. There is nothing coming up. I can't pay for my car now, for my BMW. But it was a good thing.
But it gave you the impetus to
absolutely
do what you wanted to do, or at least move towards that objective. Right?
Yes, yes.
But I guess it's how do you educate or coach people to actually make that leap?
The coaching part, in fact, is the way I approach it is basically I look at it as personal development.
Sure.
Developing self-confidence, your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Not to a point where one sounds abrupt or where one sounds over boisterous or of that nature. Self-confidence doesn't involve raising your voice. It doesn't involve showing other people you're bigger than them or you're better than them.
Right.
It is being humble. It's just the opposite. It is being humble. It's being nice. It's being thoughtful. And that's what self-confidence is.
And being thankful
And
for
being
what
thankful.
you might have.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people out there, a lot of people think that I have self-confidence. I'm an extremely self-confident person. But when you actually see them in public with people, they sound rude. They sound loud. They think they're overconfident. They're confident people looking at them. But actually, are they self-confident?
Or is it just an act?
It's just an act.
Yeah.
Yes. It's self-confidence comes from within. It comes from your soul, from your heart.
Yeah, from understanding who you are
understanding
as a
who
human
you
being,
are.
right? Right.
Yes. Yes.
Is that what a personal life coach does? Is help people to get in touch with? Is that one of the things that you do? Is help people get in touch with that?
It is. It is. Hugh, it is one of the things I help people get in touch with their soul, with their inner feelings, and with this personal life coach also comes relationship coaching, self-development coaching, and of course the date coaching part. I like to emphasize this. I'm not a dating service. I had this client come to me and he said, David, I need your help. I'm going out tonight, and the chick I like this chick in the bar, and I really want to go out with her. So that's not what I do.
No.
Well, that's part of the personal life, though. I mean,
Yes. Yes, it is.
It is. So I help an individual to have that, build up the self-confidence to even have that initial approach.
Mm-hmm.
And when that initial approach does not go right, to have the ability and the confidence to take that rejection of no.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because there's realizing potential.
Yes.
And then there's, some areas where I'm sure you'd have. Do you ever see people that want to be all that they can be or striving to be something, but they don't have the tools to actually ever get there?
Yes. They kind of they have a challenge with self-confidence. They have a challenge with approach.
Right.
Now, as per my research, and I've done a lot of research on this before I even ventured into this.
Right.
It's not just having a person go and talk to a female out there, or a female talk to a male out there.
Right.
It is about how the approach takes place, what you say, how you look, how you act. Your body language is important,
For sure.
of course, and your mannerism is important. There are lots of things involved in this. It's not only approaching, going to a bar, hey, can I buy you a drink, and let's go out for a dinner.
Yeah, it depends what the end game is.
End
too,
game is too. Yes. Are you looking for that long term? You as
Right. Is it right now or?
I'm just trying to think of a joke. Keep it light. So you're much more than a dating coach, though.
I'm much more than a dating coach. I should say that I'm much more than a dating coach. Yeah. And it's also about taking that rejection. I have my own example. I was 16 at the time, and of course at the age of 16, I come from a place where we just started getting a disco. Okay. It was first disco, and I entered that disco, and being 16, I wanted to dance, being part Portuguese, part Indian. Dancing's in my blood, of course.
It's in your blood?
It's in my blood.
Yeah.
I'll cut it out and
Transfusion every couple of years.
Yeah.
Dancing too much.
And I approached this girl who was from my school actually, and I asked her out for a dance, and she flat out refused.
Oh, don't you hate that?
When, when it happens, I'll tell you. Oh.
Especially when everybody in the place
Yeah.
is looking at you.
Yeah.
And the music just stopped.
Stop.
And
And
you
all,
just,
everybody
"Hey, would
just
you like
hears,
to go out with
and everybody
Yeah.
just hears no.
No. Yeah.
That's it. And she was not even polite about it.
No.
She said, no, that's it. You know, I went back home. I never entered that disco again.
You were
for the next-
crushed.
I was crushed at
Right.
the age of 16.
Wow, come on. Then that's right around the time when you're
With a learning.
when
things.
when you're learning in your
learning
prime,
things,
you know, for being crushed. So
Yeah. And I've been rejected at bars. I've been rejected
Sure.
at dance floors, even in my major adult life,
Yep.
like 25, 30, more than that. But I take that as part of learning. Because sometimes, and most of the time or sometimes, the other person just does not want it.
right,
He
there is
just-
no connection there.
There is no
which-
connection
Fine.
there. That's it. It's,
Yeah.
I see that as mirroring yourself with another person. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and just say no to someone who approaches you, a male or female.
Good
and
point.
you just don't want to have that dance. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing which goes on.
Well, you know, it's just interesting because that's exactly what we were talking about in our last interview
Yeah.
with Tibor about, you know, salespeople obviously have to get used to that rejection. It's just part of life,
Yes.
and anybody that's in that's being an entrepreneur or a person who's in a new business, which I would think is a real growth area for personal life coaching, because there's a lot of people that are kind of new to this. They are new to being on their own in terms of business. They're new to starting a business. They're not just an employee anymore. And we're all moving into that. As I said, I think
True.
we're in a transitional phase. We're all moving towards that. So we all maybe sometimes need to have that coaching to get us through that.
True. I agree. And our life is a constant development process itself. We cannot come into this life and say, okay, Hugh or Steve, I'm done. I know everything. I know it all now. Okay.
Yeah, when's that going to happen, though? I've been waiting for that.
Waiting for that,
Finally,
yeah.
the learning
Finally.
is over. I can start to cash in on all this experience.
So we go on with life, learning in a process. And even my father and my grandfather said, you know, David, you go ahead. You fall in a hole. You fall once, maybe twice. But if you fall the third time, you might want to avoid that hole, you know?
It's true.
You might want to look at yourself. Why are you falling in that hole
Yeah.
over and over? Yeah, maybe take a different road, maybe. Or maybe just jump over it. There are other options. So it's life is, that's how life is. And life is great. Life is, what I see it is there is so much information out there. There's so many things to learn out there, and better yourself. And be a better person, not only for yourself, but for others as well in your life, in your relationships, in your career, in any place you go.
That's true.
Even go to a coffee shop like Starbucks and, you know, be the person, be a nice person, you know.
Now, you hear stories. Now, I'm just going to ask maybe a hard question, but you hear stories about people that, some stories, you don't hear a lot of them, thankfully, but you do hear occasionally the story of somebody who, you know, maybe they did have a job for a long time and then they got laid off, and
Yes.
then they are in that position where they're being forced into this new role that a lot of people are taking up. May not be their first choice, you know, but this is what they're dealing with now. And they just lose hope, or they just can't get their head around this new reality that they're kind of forced into. Like, what do you say to somebody like that who's really struggling with this new role that they feel they've been forced into?
What I actually say to them is, and I've actually, this is a good example. In fact, I had a client, a volunteer client, is an unpaid client who lost his job, always volunteering, is things have happened for a reason. You have come into this point in your life for a reason. And your next adventure has started in life. Do not look back. That is water under the bridge now. That is gone. That is spilled milk now. Go on with your life. Look towards how you can improve on yourself, how you can improve on something which you do, and get a better job. Now the ambition or the goal on this has to be trying to get a better job, a better career. And I totally understand the fact that someone after 15, 20 years of service, when they lose their jobs, it's going to a depressive state, basically. Going to a state where they've been in that job for 20 years, and all of a sudden there is nothing.
They're in a big comfort zone,
Comfort
too,
zone.
right?
Yes.
When you're in there for 20 years,
True.
and now you're totally outside of your comfort zone. It doesn't feel great, does it?
It does not. It does not. It feels lonely.
Yeah, you're
It feels
alone.
alone.
Absolutely.
Lonely, maybe even small.
Even small.
That's Ian.
I can give an example of someone who actually I know. He had a very high position in a company. The most gentlest, nicest person ever to speak with, and people looked up to him. He lost his job. When I saw him in a party in one of the parties venues actually I went to. He felt low. He felt that I'm missing something. I don't have anything to give. I'm lower to everyone now.
Well, his self-worth was based on
Self-worth was
what he did, right?
diminished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Diminished it was, and it was saddening to see that. Such a nice man, position, and this happens.
And how do you pick yourself up from that? I mean, the hard thing, I guess, is like, Hugh was mentioning, you've been at something for 15, 20 years, you're getting steady raises, you've got a package, whatever, and now you're back down to, how do I jump right back into another job that's going to pay me the same, give me the same benefits, make it worthwhile for me to show up every day, I mean.
And especially older people who
Sure.
are a little less, perhaps, flexible or resilient, to those circumstances.
It's like starting all over. It's like starting right from the bottom.
Yeah, because
Right from the bottom.
you don't have the same tools, that you had 20 years ago,
Yes.
or you need new tools to actually, invigorate and start something new. So that's daunting, I think, to a lot of people. But I think we are approaching that time, right now, is that we are into an era where a lot of things are being downsized. A lot of people are being asked to work 3 days a week, work from home. You're gone.
You've got. And part of that also is one of my actually pages on my website, which is called Additional Services, incorporates that. It is not exactly got to do with someone who's actually lost their job, but it's someone who goes out to a venue, and I could be there, or they could hire my services or my associates to go out with them as a partner, as a good friend, as a buddy, and that is part of one of my services where you can go out. I'll talk good about them. Of course, I know them from before. It's not shoot stars in the air. It's and give them a good impression. And lots of people lack that. Lots of people go out with their partners, hoping that they would promote them or market them, but that does not happen. That does not happen, and everything remains the same. So I have one of those services which is actually on my website, davidgarrett.com. And it's called Additional Services, which I've incorporated there.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, David, for people who are out there checking, right now, just listening to you, and maybe they're resonating with you, but who is kind of the ideal client for you? Who are the kinds of people that you work best with in terms of the services that you provide?
In fact, my client scope is wide open. It's diverse. It could be male, female, of different ethnicity, diversity, different age groups, and individuals maybe could be about who are having challenges, I should say. And I use this word challenges these days rather than issues.
Yeah.
Because issues sounds more of a negative term.
Yeah.
I have issues. I have challenges in life. Everyone has challenges in
Absolutely.
life. So I use the word challenges, who have challenges getting a date, or who are hoping to find their potential life partner by dating, and it starts by dating. It could be male, female. Individuals who are having challenges with self-confidence in that initial approach, in that initial going to the bar, or in that initial conversation, building up that initial conversation. Someone who's having self-esteem issues. And so these are my scope is wide open all there. The age group, I should say, would be probably 18 and above.
Sure.
Because we could be dating at age 55. We could be dating at...
Hopefully.
Hopefully. We are
Sure.
we are widower. I'm hoping not, but
And do you deal with corporations, everybody from, from individuals
from
to
individuals to
groups?
corporation
Yeah.
and groups. I prefer one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Face-to-face coaching is preferred. I'm available for phone coaching as well. But face-to-face coaching is much better. I can resonate. I can get a visual on the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No,
that
and what does the process look like? Like, does it begin with a meeting where you kind of do an initial assessment, or what's the kind of overall approach? What can people expect when they start working with you?
Good question, actually. In fact, the initial approach, the assessment, is a 60-minute assessment. It's free. Call me, email me. I'll get back to you either way. Depending, we'll set up a time to talk, preferably face-to-face, which I prefer, or on the phone assessment. I will assess the situation, and that 60 minutes, or 1 hour I should say, is free. I give that as a free. And then I develop a package from there on, depending on how long you can go by on the coaching process. It could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and it's all on an individual basis. It's all customized according to that individual and his or her challenges.
Great. Okay. And if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best-
We've already put your website up a few times, so.
Absolutely. The best way to get in touch with me is either call me, which is 416-422-4919, or email me at david@davidgarrett.com. Mind you, the Garrett actually is spelled as Gharat as in Tom, .com.
Okay.
And I can be found on Twitter under @DavidGarrett, and also on Facebook. Please connect with me on Facebook. Much better to know me right there. You can
Do
see
you
my...
spend a lot of time on Facebook?
I do.
And how do you find it? Because you're doing business there, right? And I'm just curious, because we were talking about this with Tibor, our last guest, and just curious, how are you finding Facebook in terms of the business end of it?
Hugh, in this day and age, social media marketing has become big.
Yeah.
Facebook, specifically for my kind of profession, I would not put an engineering company on there.
No.
If I want to market an engineering company, so I would have some similar professions like mine, or something similar in that nature, to market on there. And it's an excellent method to market, excellent method to get to know people,
Right.
whom we probably never met or probably will meet at a venue.
Yeah.
I have met so many who were on my Facebook.
Yeah.
We chatted, and then I met them in person,
Yeah.
and it's lovely. And they are good friends of mine.
That's great. Okay, so that's a good way for people to connect with you. Just
Yes.
look you up on Facebook
Look
and
me up on
make a
Facebook.
friend request.
Absolutely, and befriend me. Send me a friend request. I'm wide open on there, and I have my blog as well, which is www.davidgarrett.blogspot.com. It's actually on my website as well,
Okay.
and Twitter, and most probably on YouTube now. One more thing I also want to add is I am actually now going to incorporate a addictions counseling program with my personal life coaching as well. I am actually in the process right now of actually in McMaster right now, taking a part-time addiction counseling program as well, which gives me a better, which I'm going to incorporate that in my website as well at a later stage. I'm not
That
fully qualified to do that right now.
That's great. Maybe we can get you here on the show. You can do a show like
Yeah.
Dr. Drew. You can be like Canada's Dr. Drew.
Oh, absolutely.
Dr. Dave.
And we'll do it right here around this table.
Absolutely.
Canadian Celebrity Rehab.
And you'll start with us. We'll be your first clients.
Okay, David, thanks. Great to meet you. Great to have this
Thanks.
conversation.
Nice to meet you, Hugh, and nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, come back with Perry Martin talking about healthcare for seniors.
That's us.
Yep, we'll be right back.